find a replacement for my GH5 for like almost a year. It's been such a hassle, and like nothing really checked all the boxes for me, and until the FX3 came along, and that was the first camera I was like, oh, I like that. Like that actually inspires me. Like I want to pick up that camera and hold that camera. So I ended up buying it, and I'm still putting it through its paces and learning all about it, but so far it's been a great experience. And I just want to make this video talking about some of my favorite features, the things that surprised me, and some of the things that I'm not so stoked on. In terms of the ergonomics, I gotta say, when I first pulled it out of the box, it's a pretty big camera. Like it's thick, it's chunky, it's good to hold, it's not too light. It's nice, it feels good in the hand, but still, obviously it's a small camera, it is compact. You know what? I like that. I've had cameras in the past that it was my baby. I liked picking it up and working with it. Whereas other cameras were like, yeah, it gets the job done. I like the footage, but I didn't have the sense of like, oh, this is my camera. Like I love this camera. And I feel like this camera with its thick, chunky build, like it's doing it for me right now. The biggest disruption this camera's had for my workflow is definitely through the autofocus. I've been using this wireless follow focus system for a while because with the GH5 you just simply can't rely on autofocus. And I got pretty good at using the wireless follow focus system, but it was an extra step. And not only an extra step in shooting, but also getting things ready. I had to charge a set of batteries to power the controller and then to power the motor, and it was just like extra work that I don't necessarily want to be doing. And to be quite honest, for certain focus moves, the autofocus is better than I am. The tracking is better than I could track in a lot of scenarios. Some situations I could still see myself using the wireless follow focus system, but overall this autofocus just crushes it. Anything that can make my day shooting easier, I'm gonna take it, because if my mind is preoccupied with, oh, I gotta keep this in focus, I gotta focus pull, what's the distance, yada yada, then I'm not thinking about how do I best frame this shot, what's the best composition angle, how could I position the lighting or the subject. Another big thing is the dynamic range. I've been doing a lot of real estate lately, and I kind of just accepted the fact that a lot of times if I shoot during the day, the windows are just completely blown out. And with this camera, it's not really that bad anymore. Like even broad daylight, I can capture some detail outside, and that's because of the dynamic range. It just allows for a little bit more latitude. So I'm really happy about that. It gives my work just that much more production value, makes it that much more realistic, and better videos, more projects. So that was one of the biggest selling features. And another thing is, like, Sony, they're making their own sensors. They're gonna be putting the top of the line best technology into their own equipment, and then everybody else buying their stuff, I feel like, yeah, they may pay for good sensors, but they're probably not gonna get like the latest and greatest. This review wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk a little bit about the low light capabilities. And right now I'm shooting this at 12,000 ISO, and you be the judge, it looks pretty clean. Previous cameras, I could never do this. I would have to have my lights way brighter. Right now my lights are like 5%, real dim, and still giving off plenty of light. It's easy to work with. I like knowing that, oh, even though it's night, I can get really clean footage. But there's some caveats, like you gotta work with the native ISO, especially when you're shooting an S-Log3. So that's a bit tricky. Sometimes it forces me to have my aperture higher than I wish I could, but it's a small compromise overall. Let's get into things I wish this camera had. Probably my biggest complaint is no built-in ND filters. Surprise, surprise, everyone's been saying, but honestly, built-in NDs are so convenient. They're fast, they work well, they have less color cast, they're better quality than variable NDs. Sony. You should have put it in there. If this was my dream world and I could just make any wishes, I'd probably say, give us 6K. If I could have 6K, that would just give me a little bit more flexibility, and I would have more ability to get creative and have some fun with the edit and post. So those would be the two things I would wish for. But honestly, even the 4K footage is so sharp, it looks great. I'm gonna be happy with this footage for the foreseeable future. So, what do you think? Is this camera worth it? Am I just being a Sony fanboy? Let me know in the comments below, and please subscribe to the channel. I got a lot more content coming for you soon. Peace.